Namaskar and a very warm welcome to all art lovers to Bengaluru International Virtual Arts Festival 2020. AIMS celebrates the 13th year of Bengaluru International Arts Festival. BIAF 2020 proves its sustainable growth as an acclaimed global festival in the map of international festivals of the world. AIM is an NGO which is dedicated to the propagation of performing arts with a focus on Indian classical forms and its emerging contemporary expressions. The brainchild of Dr. Suma Sudhindra and Veena Murthy Vijay, AIM has been actively promoting the performing arts, music, dance, and theatre through mega festivals, lectures, and workshops. Another important contribution to the environment of Bengaluru is the Go Green Bangalore, a campaign dedicated to the planting the trees and creating afforestation around Bengaluru. AIM has produced a lifestyle series for television, One State, Many Worlds. AIM expresses its appreciation and heartfelt gratitude to the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, Department of Kannada and Culture, Government of Karnataka, HDFC Home Loans, ICCR, Department of Tourism, Karnataka, Sangeet Natak Academy, New Delhi, and Orion Mall. Bengaluru International Arts Festival lives up to its primary nature of collaborating with international artists. And this year too, we bring to you performances by various teams from many countries. We extend our gratitude to our collaborators from all these following countries: Indonesia, Netherlands, United States of America, Russia, and Sri Lanka. We begin this evening's performance with the State Dance Theatre Cossacks of Russia. The State Dance Theatre Cossacks of Russia was founded in 1990 by the choreographer Leonid Milovanov, with the aim of glorifying the great Cossack culture around the world. The Cossacks of Russia have been demonstrating their skills at the best concert venues in the world, representing Russia and its unique Cossack culture for a quarter of a century. Under the leadership of National Artist of Russia, Leonid Milovanov, the Cossacks of Russia toured many countries, including Europe, Asia, and the United States, practically the world over, and everywhere they were successful in getting rave reviews by the media. The ensemble's program may be called an encyclopedia of a Cossack life, expressed in colorful costumes, perky songs, and irrepressible dances representing traditions and cultural heritage of numerous Cossack regions of Russia, from the Don River and the Black Sea to Siberia and the Far East. Nowadays, the ensemble is more and more often referred to as the Bolshoi Cossack Ballet, the focus being put on the highest professionalism of the artists and the mastery of the artistic director Leonid Milovanov, as well as the breadth of the repertoire, which includes original samples of various Cossack song and dance traditions. It is hard to imagine Russia without the Cossacks. Ellen Tolstoy wrote, "All Russia is made by the Cossacks." Since the 14th century, the Cossacks have been support and protection of Russia. Song and dance traditions of Cossack reflect this standing for Russia, which is carefully preserved and developed by the Lipetsk Dance Theatre Cossacks of Russia. We from AIM BIAF are extremely grateful to ICCR and the Jawaharlal Nehru Cultural Center, Moscow, Russia, and its director, Dr. Usha R.K., for bringing this beautiful collaboration to BIAF.
Дисциплину соблюдай, если хочешь быть Казаки! Гуляй!
Шелковый, сиделицы нового, Павле Шелковый.
гости. Он приезжая, опять приезжая, он приезжая, опять приезжая. А девка разлюбезная, все плача рыдая, девка разлюбезная, все плача рыдая, все плача рыдая, на ночь оставляя, все плача рыдая, на ночь оставляя. Заначенька, заченька, ноченьку со мной, заначенька, заченька, ноченьку со мной.
зачем ты снова повстречался? Зачем нарушил мой покой? Зачем ты снова повстречался? Зачем нарушил мой покой? Свою судьбу с твоей судьбою пускай связь
performance of today is a Melharmonic Orchestra. We bring to you Chitravina virtuoso and composer N. Ravikiran bridging Indian Carnatic and Western musical traditions. The renowned Apollo chamber players for the first time ever are presenting compositions of master Indian composers Uttukadu Venkatakavi and Arunagirinathar, along with the renowned Chitravina virtuoso N. Ravikiran. The Chitravina is one of the most exquisite of Indian musical instruments. Also referred to as the Gotu Vadyam, it is a 21-stringed fretless lute, quite similar in its playing technique to the Vichitravina of North India. With a history going back to nearly 2000 years, it is one of the oldest instruments in the world and the forerunner of the fretted Saraswati Veena. Ravikiran's most significant contribution to the world of music is Melharmony, a new approach to compositions and aesthetics that he initiated in the year 2000 at the Millennium Festival in UK. The impact of this has been reflected in Melharmonic concerts, collaborations, academic papers, and recognitions such as the cities of Madison and Middletown in USA, proclamations of Melharmony Day. Melharmony aims to explore new harmonies based on the rules of highly evolved melodic systems such as Indian classical music.
I'm joined here by Matthew Dietrich and Annabelle Ramirez of the Apollo Chamber Players, and also Chitravina Ravikiran, the composer of the piece that we're going to be talking about today. Matt, I'll start with you. Tell us about how this all came about.
Well, this was to be the 12th commission of our 20 by 2020 commissioning project. And we were looking for something very special to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Apollo Chamber Players, which was in 2017. Wow. So I've always been very taken with Indian classical music, particularly the music of Ravi Shankar. I remember listening to some of those recordings of Ravi Shankar with Yehudi Menuhin, and just being so taken with kind of the intersection of these two very disparate styles of music making. And I thought that would be very appropriate to explore this with one of our commissioned projects. So I got in touch with Ravi, and we got together in March of 2017, about 6 months before the concert, and we actually talked about and learned about the musical styles of Carnatic music, and then that's sort of how the genesis of this commission came about.
Now, you mentioned Carnatic there. That is what we might call Indian classical music. Ravi, you're an exponent of Melharmony. Talk to us about what that is, because we're about to hear it.
First of all, it's a great pleasure to be with all of you here again, hooking up with Matt and Annabelle and yourself, sir. So great pleasure to be part of this wonderful Vision 20 by 2020 project as well. So just before I talk about Melharmony, small distinction to what you said about Carnatic. Carnatic is actually more the South Indian classical. There's another distinctive classical system which is in the other parts of the country called the Hindustani music. So both of these had common origins, but sort of bifurcated around the 12th or 13th centuries.
Oh, wow.
So today, when we say Carnatic, it also means the ancient Indian classical or the traditional Indian classical kind of thing, because Hindustani also had Persian influences. So it is more an amalgam of the two. Right. So, and now talking about Melharmony, Melharmony is basically a conjugation of the term melody and harmony. A lot of this may sound like cliches or truisms, but they need to be highlighted. There are distinctions here. Technically, melodic systems evolved along scales and modes. So, whereas harmonic systems started getting more codified with chords, counterpoints, and all that, which started getting even more solidified probably in the 1700s time frame, even though it might have started around the Gregorian chant period. So the rules for harmony and the rules for melody many times are divergent. So what may work for melody may not work for harmony, and vice versa. So because many of the chords that are very intuitive to Western composers and listeners will not fit into some of the scales or the modes, or what you call as ragas in Indian music. So melodic progression is very, very distinctive from harmonic progression. So Melharmony is a system that actually was probably the first scientific attempt to bridge this divergence by starting from a point of similarities between these systems, this apparently divergent Western classical and Indian classical approaches to music at a very fundamental level. So we started keeping similarities as the starting point, and then we wondered how would it sound if we created chords and counterpoints based on the rules of melodic progression as opposed to just traditional way of doing it with harmonic progression.
Matt and Annabelle, I don't know which of you wants to jump in here, but how different was this music for you, or was it?
It definitely was just unexpected harmonic changes, and having to stay within, instead of a set key, having to stay within the particular raga that we were playing in, and it just doesn't come to our ears as easily as, let's say, like a regular D major key that we encounter in classical music. So it was kind of getting to just know how to internalize that particular feeling of the raga, but still, in our instruments. So it's just kind of like a marriage of two different phrases,
One of the things that I think was special too is that Ravi allowed within the composition some room for improvisation. And that's something that, I really wanted to experiment with a little bit.
Ravi, how do you notate for this ensemble?
The Indian notation system, again, actually the Carnatic, when I say the Indian, I also mean specifically Carnatic system, has a lot of similarities with respect to the basic ways in which we notate speeds. Carnatic has a precise notation system because it's a very, very compositionally rich system of music. We have had some of the most brilliant composers whose works are performed with the same kind of rigor like Western classical masters. But there is flexibility in the Indian notation system where the tempo is concerned and where the pitch is concerned, because the same piece is played by different instruments or sung by different vocalists.
And you play with, there's semitones and quarter tones and all these, all these pitches in between are Western.
Those are never notated.
Yeah,
those are never notated.
Right.
Only the semitones are notated. We actually only use the same 12-tone and system. But for purposes of Melharmony, of course, I developed a working knowledge of notating everything in the Western staff system.
So what was it like for a traditional string quartet or quintet this time, because there was a double bass as well, to suddenly start playing with the Chitravina? How did that sound meld for you?
Well, honestly, I feel like the marriage of these two styles and instruments, it's as pure as it can be. The sonorities that come from our stringed instruments and the Chitravina, I just think it's very beautiful. And it's a perfect match from my estimation. What do you think, Annabelle?
I feel the same way. It's always very interesting. And I think this is it's always been the Apollo's mission has always been to kind of find those seemingly disparate things and then bring them together. And we always find that somehow music continues to be music, and it always sounds good no matter what we put it against, which other instrument. I mean, if we have a composer that understands our instruments and understands their tradition, then what comes out, the final products, it's different, but it's interesting, and it's always been a good match so far.
The listener may or may not notice that you're amplified too, Ravi. But I think that again, it just works so well with our instruments, and I think including the double bass really gives it the support that it needs too.
Right. I think that's a very, very important point, because many of these Western instruments have been designed so beautifully that you can play them without amplification, even for thousands of people at times. It'll be so clear. But on the other hand, some of these Indian instruments were essentially chamber instruments. So they need to be amplified in order to make sure that the details are heard. So I think in that sense, I think working with a string quintet also was a major factor in bringing a little more truer kind of nuances and the microtones into this concert. So I was able to actually notate it in a way where I could highlight your instrumental ability to bring out those microtones. So Melharmony aims to extend the frontiers of the techniques of both the East and the Western musician.
Well, look, Ravi, thank you very much for joining us. And Matt and Annabelle, thank you to you as well. And we look forward to hearing the pieces.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Ravi. Thank you, St. John.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, Annabelle, and Cindy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.